How's it going, Dopamon fans? If you've been following along on the channel, you know I've been talking about the top Russian prospects for the 2022 NHL Entry Draft, and today we have my number one, Danila Yurov. Seen at the beginning of the year as a top 10 pick, Yurov has been on the radar for years, especially being a part of that big silver medal team last year for the U18s. So, a little bit about him. He's a winger, plays both sides really well, stands 6'1" and weighs in at 179 pounds. He's got one more year on his KHL contract according to EP, so NHL teams drafting him can look to have him come over to North America sooner rather than later. Yurov has spent most of his season bouncing between the Metallurg Magnitogorsk's KHL and MHL teams, splitting his games nearly evenly between the pro and junior leagues. But what wasn't even was his time on ice, where at the KHL level he was often seeing only as little as 30 seconds per night. Sometimes he'd get more, but sometimes he'd just sit around all game to get a few shifts near the end of the game. And he got a lot less time as the season went on, barely getting any time at all in the playoffs. I calculated his total ice time in both the regular season and playoff games combined to be 141 minutes, 3 seconds, which across the total 40 games is an average of 3 minutes, 32 seconds per game in the KHL. Averaging 3.5 minutes per night in weird late game situations can be very difficult for you to show off your full game, and that small sample size has made it very difficult for not only me to scout him, but for NHL teams to scout him as well, and that's something that I'm going to mention a little bit later. That being said, in his time in the MHL, the junior league, he was scoring at a pace simply above everybody else with 13 goals and 23 assists in 23 games, and clearly deserves to play at the higher KHL level. So, let's get on to some video. So what stands out best about Yurov is the way he translates his elite skating and puck skills across 200 feet of ice. He has a strong north-south game, able to lead the offense himself from the defensive zone, as well as the ability to score and create chances at the other end. In this clip, watch him start with the puck in the defensive zone and deke his way through the opposing defense to set up the offensive zone cycle. In this clip, watch him steal the puck on the back check, then weave his way to the front of the net and score. This clip, where on the PK he recognizes an opportunity to jump in onto the rush and get a 2-on-1. And in these next two clips, we see him use body positioning to beat defenders, first without the puck on a dump-in to make a play in the offensive zone, and the second with the puck to manage to get a shot on net. Or these two chip and chase plays. He loves to beat defenders using his speed. And not just offensively, but defensively. In this clip, we see him try to deny space in the neutral zone, and then back check hard to deny a chance in front of his own net. And then in the next clip, we see him back check hard to knock the puck free in the neutral zone. And now just an assortment of clips that demonstrate his elite puck control at high speeds and how he leads the offense for his line. here we have some other examples of how he uses his speed and skills in the offensive zone. In these clips, watch him pass or control the puck, then cut to the slot for a shot or pass, or just create more room for himself in the offensive zone. Or these clips where he controls the puck along the boards, then makes passes that lead to a goal. And as we see in these next few clips, he's able to get a shot off in very little space. And speaking of shots, not only is he able to score up close, but he's got a strong wrist shot and a good one-timer from that strong side. These next few clips are going to have a few one-time goals from him on that strong side. And even without the puck, in the offensive zone, Yurov can be deadly on the forecheck as well. In these clips, watch him use his stick to either knock the puck free or intercept a pass, and then turn that into a goal or scoring opportunity. And it's also the small stuff he does with the stick that really exemplifies his elite puck ability. Like in this clip, how he uses his stick to block a passing lane, or here, making a skilled breakout pass from the defensive zone, or in this one, how he uses his stick to quickly settle the puck for an offensive chance. He's also able to make a face-off. I don't think he'll ever be a center as he drives so much speed up the wing, but that, the fact that he can take a face-off is beneficial to being on the PK. This doesn't mean he isn't without his flaws, but I've also seen him grow as the season has gone along. Like in this clip where he just makes a really weird giveaway without looking in the defensive zone, or in this next clip where he gets a decent chance on a partial break, but then tries to do too much by himself and then loses it. Or this example of his shooting selection from just a weird spot in the offensive zone with so many so many bodies in the way. He could have, made a pass. These were all from September, and I feel like he's really grown out of this type of play. He's really matured mentally, gone from playing cocky to playing more confident, and I think that's important. Instead of trying to do everything and show off, which, has led to mistakes, he's confident in his execution and shows lots of poise. So in conclusion, the biggest problem with supposed top 10 draft picks is finding what they don't have. In previous years, top Russian prospects had been given a lot more ice time at the KHL level to flush out just how high their potential is. In fact, most top 10 Russian draft picks from past years like Andrei Svechnikov, Mikhail Sergachev, Ivan Provorov, even Nail Yakupov had elected to play in Canada, which likely increased their draft stock as NHL teams could more reliably scout them. This comes into play significantly because Yurov is not the first player to completely outperform at the MHL level, so it's hard to judge where his ceiling might be compared to past Russian prospects who've gotten the KHL time to see all the flaws in their game. In Yurov's case, at worst, you have a guaranteed NHL caliber level player, just because he's already so good, but becoming a top-line scorer may be up to an NHL team's development staff to find out. I don't think he'll ever be a center either, so that's another thing that teams will consider. The player that I've always compared him to, who has a similar north-south game and ability to move the puck, is Mitch Marner, which makes me believe that he absolutely has the potential in him to be that top 6 scorer in the NHL. But I can also see why some teams might overlook him in this draft, simply because of an inability to fully determine where his ceiling might be. They don't know if he's going to be a 50-60 point guy or a 100 point guy, and without having seen enough of him, they might pass on him. He does have one more year on that KHL contract, so he can quickly become an addition to an NHL team really soon, especially if, next year he has a really big breakout season and scores a lot, but that can be a huge gamble. He just hasn't performed at the KHL level like you'd expect. So I'm going to rank him 10th overall. I can't see him falling past 15. I know teams are going to worry about the small sample size on him, but the skill he has is simply undeniable. As far as teams I think he could fit on, Detroit, who's got the 8th overall pick in this year's draft, probably a bit high of a pick for him, but I think he could really fit their forward group pretty well, either as a second line right winger behind Lucas Raymond, or maybe on the left wing with him, since Yurov does play both sides very well. The Washington Capitals, who are picking at number 20, if Yurov either drops or if they tried to trade up in the draft, I think they could use a young puck-moving forward to pass to Ovechkin. Along with them having a bunch of Russian talent on the team, Yurov only having one more year in his contract, maybe that can help him, quickly transition to the NHL as well. I also think he'd be a good fit in Anaheim, who has the number 10 pick. They could benefit from a player that generates offense so consistently, and I think he could have a similar chemistry in the way that Sonny Milano does with Trevor Zegras, and could become another piece in their deep forward pool. Also, Columbus, they've got the 12th overall pick, and they've been known to draft really deep out of Russia. I think they're a contender for Yurov as well. So, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to follow along with the rest of my scouting reports I'll be posting until the draft, where Dopamon, my best friend, and I talk hockey news, analysis, playoff coverage, and we got lots more draft content and scouting reports, all mock draft sorts of things, so stick around. Peace.